Good morning. How are we doing today, everybody? I am doing some experimenting with my microphone today because upon the rewatch, the audio is garbage. So I'm trying to figure out if my microphone gain is too large or too small, which is not the correct terms for that. Anyway, so let me know if I'm like blasting your ears off or being too much of an ASMR person. Um, but good morning, Casey. Good morning, Cranko. It's crazy that it is already Friday. But also no, it's been a very long week. So I also buy it. Good morning, Meredith. I will make you write. We're gonna try to get writing faster today. But actually, I don't care. We're gonna write though. Audio sounds good. Okay, that's good. I was watching it back and I was like, I mean, you can hear me, but it's a little like it's like too quiet and too loud at the same time. Like I don't know what's wrong with this bougie microphone. Um, and I think, as long as my rule of thumb is like as long as it's not distractingly bad, I think it's fine, which is not the best attitude to have in life, but Um, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I'm just clicking every comment 50 times today. I believe that you can still get things done with a cat in your lap. I'm a firm believer of that. Okay, hot tip of the morning. I just found someone on TikTok. Don't ask me why I was on TikTok. Also follow me on TikTok. Same username. And she does like query critiques. How many different query critique podcast TikTok people can I submit to? That's the question of the day. But I just submitted mine for her to critique on TikTok. I don't know. I'm just trying to do rejection therapy where I just get rejected by as many things as possible. It's going really well. The rejection part is going really well. Anissa, hello. It's lunchtime in South Africa, so I'm not writing or doing anything waiting for food to be ready. Well, thanks for popping in. It's great to see you in here. Hello, Zainab. It's hard to believe we're already at the end of this week. It's been so fun. I think I will be doing this volume of writing sprints. Is that the right way to say that? Probably not. Um, for sure during like when I have to edit or like when I need to get work done. Um, because hopefully I will finish this book soon, although I'm not too convinced. I still have so much left, but it's fine. Hello, Dance Storm. Trying to force myself back into writing, no ideas, no plan. That's kind of fun and also a little stressful. But I'm hoping once you get into a sprint, you kind of have to make a plan or like just jump right in. So I wish you all the best. um, I have actually written since we last. Have I? Have I written since we last spoke? Yes, I think so. Oh, I did. Yeah, I finished the chapter I was on, and so now I'm moving on to the next one. Which is a long chapter, so there's no way I'm gonna finish it in this sprint, but I can try my very best. Zaina will be studying linear algebra. I think that's a first for the live sprints. Um, I I could not think of something that I would rather be doing less. Does that make sense? I don't like algebra. That's the moral of the story is that I don't like algebra. Um, yeah. So if anybody else popping in wants to let me know what you're working on. Um, Hessa has to study too. Well, I'm glad I can keep you company while you study. I used to join a lot of these sprints as like the silent viewers, as they say, when I was in college, because I was somehow like afraid of chatting. I don't know why. I was like, what if someone sees me? Like, what are they gonna do? So I used to do that too. But I don't know if I agree with algebra being better than geometry. I think it was just that I had a really bad algebra teacher who assumed that everybody already knew how to do algebra. Like I was in all advanced classes except for I should not have been in advanced math. But what happens, at least in my school, was that if you're in all the advanced classes, you kind of have to be in all of them or else it doesn't work with the schedule. So I was in advanced algebra. But the thing about people in advanced math is that they already know how to do algebra. Like their minds just like know how to do algebra. So then the teacher of advanced algebra didn't even teach it. He was just like, here's all the problems on the board. And I was like, hello, sir, can you teach me how to? No, he could not. And then so then when I got to calculus, I couldn't do algebra. And so then, but I could do the calculus. I just couldn't do the algebra because nobody ever taught me how to do algebra. Clearly, I have some algebra trauma that I'm bringing into this morning. Geometry, I just didn't like anything with math. Good morning, Sherry. Thanks for joining today. Um, you had a great algebra teacher, but see, this is teachers really do have such an impact because then I took an algebra class in college and I could do it because no, it wasn't college. It was my senior year of high school, but it was at a college. And it was like it was sort of like a remedial algebra class. Like it was like for non-math majors. And I took it and I'm like, oh look, they're actually teaching you how. Who would have thought that if you taught it, people would understand? Okay. That's my rant for the morning about algebra. It really does fill me with rage. I really did not like that teacher. He was also like a sports coach. So he was always gone doing the sport teams. And then it was just like the sub who was really bad at teaching. Okay. Um, Sherry's still working on revisions. Yesterday got a full request from a pitch event. That's awesome. That's awesome, Sherry. Revised as much as I could before sending it out, but still lots more to do. Oh my gosh. Well, this is so exciting. I'm excited that you got another full. Um, but the crunch time with revisions is wild, like that feeling. Also, it is Friday, so all the querying authors out there, get ready for a Friday of fun. Except it's not every Friday, it's just like every once in a while. I get like 15 rejections on Fridays. So, or maybe a request. But Sherry, I'm so excited for you. See, I just think there's a little serendipity or like divine timing, whatever you want to think, and like just got the rejection and now getting another full. There's always more doors opening, right? You've never gotten anything on a Friday? I always get like, I'm always like, have this pit of dread in my stomach on Fridays because I'm like, there's gonna be something. But I've also all the full requests I've ever gotten have been on Fridays, so it's just like, I don't know. That's weird. I thought everybody got them on Friday. Now I'm like, maybe it was always random. Okay, let's get going with a writing sprint so we can get two in. Meredith, I'm gonna make you do two today. And the cat left. Perfect timing to get some crack down, get some work done on this Friday morning. Get like a fun, jazzy playlist out or something. I don't know. Do something fun. Okay. I feel like I'm so close to the microphone. It's like ASMR. I'm sorry if you hate ASMR. I kind of get uncomfortable when people are like tapping the microphone. Okay, wait. Sherry says it feels like early week is when agents clear out their email. My rejections are usually on a Monday or a Tuesday. That's so interesting. I always do this like psycho stalker thing when I'm bored at work where I like look at their query timeline, like the data timeline, and I See, I'm putting the timer up. I'm getting to the writing. And so I look and like a lot of the agents, I can see that they like respond to a bunch of them on Fridays. And then it'll be like, and I've learned that it's actually helpful for me to do it that way because this one agent, I could just so clearly tell from her data that she would go through on Fridays and just do all the quick rejections and leave a bunch of them blank. Because then it would be like a bunch of quick rejections and then like a bunch of long ones. So, like, in my mind, that's the second round of people that she's going back to be like, ooh, do I actually want them or not, you know? And so I got to the second round. I don't know if I actually did or if she just happened to miss my query on that day. No, see, Meredith, when you see that, that means you got to the second round. And they're really considering you and they're looking. Maybe that's toxic of me, but that's I made it to the second round, okay? That's what I want to think. The maybe pile. It's better than the rejection pile. Or is it? Who would have thought? Oh, sorry. There's a coffee. There's coffee in my mouth. Like the grounds of the coffee. Let's start. Yes, you have to believe. You have to believe that that's what it means. Okay. Stop distracting me, everyone. It's time to write. All right, that's the end of sprint number one. How are we doing, everyone? I have to tell you, during this last sprint, I'm not even joking, 15 different trucks and tractors and scooping machine cars, it's not what it's called, um, approached. I think it's like they're finally pouring concrete in this parking lot that they've been digging up for like 2 months now. But literally, my entire house is shaking as all of these like giant transformer machines. They're not transformers. That's just my point of reference. Um, come by and just park in my driveway, which is great. Anyway, so that was a little distracting. I think I wrote 50 words. I'm not even joking. I have this scene where I tried to do all this stuff in like two scenes ago, and then I skipped it because I was like, I feel like this doesn't go here because I was in my POV for way too long. Sorry if you hear literally 85 construction vehicles beeping. Um, but like, I skipped it and I was like, I need to go to the other POV first, but now I already did that, so then I need to go back to that original stuff. But it's kind of the same as what's in the next scene, but it's like I need part of the conversation from the first chunk and then to meld it into the second chunk, but then the chapter becomes like 6,000 words long. But then and then I was like, well, what's after that chapter? Maybe it'll be more fun. And then after the chapter is this whole like setup montage that I actually really like, but is it good? No. But it will be, but it's just gonna be this is Act 2 Part 2. Everyone. Anyway. And yes, it is so distracting. But this has been like 3 months now. I haven't been able to park in my driveway for 3 months, which is exciting. Meredith, did you do writing? I'm not I'm not convinced. But I'd like to believe that the answer is yes. Okay, Zaina, this is a great question. How long are chapters usually? I want everybody to actually. Um, I'm sorry, I just saw Autobots roll out. um, I would actually like to hear from everyone how long are your chapters because the original dictated chapters for me are usually 3,000 words average. But my final chapters, I think, end up being like around 2,000 words. If I'm remembering correctly, like, let me just like click on a random. Oh, that one's 3,000 and that one's 1,000. So that's not helpful. I would say between 2 and 3,000, which is maybe too long now that I think about it. Who knows? Sherry is cutting and moving scenes to earlier in the book, so the action starts sooner. Interesting. That's always an issue I have. Not with this book, because apparently my subconscious was like, we're not running into that again. But every other book I've written, like nothing has happened until the midpoint, but like tension building. So, yeah, I feel this. And it's hard because then everything else has to change afterwards. And so then, like, even if it's a small change, you have to change so much. Okay, so Meredith, yours are 15 to 3,000, 1,500 to 3,000 words. Which that sounds about right to me. If I have a chapter that's less than 1,000 words, I'm either like, well, dang it, or I'm like, what if it's an artsy chapter? Like, you know, Sherryers are around 2,500. Yeah. Um, that sounds right. Anything more than like 3,500 starts to get a little long. Um, like I'd say typically a scene for me is like 1,500. So some chapters, if they have two scenes in them, specifically with this book, because usually I just split, depending on how long the scene is and what the scene is, I just split it, like make it a new chapter. But this one, since it's dual POV, I know that there's not a rule that you have to go back and forth every time, but that kind of ended up being how it was in this book. I keep going back and forth like every chapter. Um, Except I think at the midpoint it's two in a row or something like that. But yeah, if it's under 1K, I usually add to it or combine it with something else. Anything over 5K better be very intentional. This is like, I was listening to an audiobook the other day, and I didn't realize this until after I had read it because I was looking for a chapter. And the chapter lengths went from 10 minutes, 38 minutes, and then back to 10 minutes. And I was like, ma'am? Ma'am. But I think she was trying to do like every POV is a different, or every chapter switches POV, and like you needed a long chapter for that. The book was Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. Great book, by the way. Highly recommend. Um, Opened up an unfinished project to try and get ideas, remind myself of the characters. That sounds similar to what I was doing, actually. Like, I mean, I've been writing the book for like 2 months now, but oh, has it already been 2 months? That seems ridiculous, but it's correct. Oh my gosh, there's something in my eye. But I feel like I'm kind of at this point always with this book because given the nature of the dictation where I'm like, I can't actually read it, like, I can't actually read it all the way through. It does not make sense to me because the sentences are not sentences, they're just like words. And I am aware that all sentences are made up of words, but it's like there's no clarity. So I couldn't do a read through, which I typically do before I rewrite. And so now I like kind of have to like read through the chapters coming up, and then I'm still surprised because I couldn't actually read everything until I get to it and I write it. Um, but I always think that's a good way to kind of bring inspiration back. And yeah, 38 minutes, it was aggressive, especially because all the other chapters were so short, or like moderately short. But it is like the climax of the book. So I'm like, I didn't notice that it was 38 minutes. But it was one of those chapters where you just sit and stare at the wall. And so I must have looked insane to all the construction men who are outside judging me always. They can just see me in here. So, the problem now is like I need to write this bleh scene that is now like 6,000 words in its original iteration. I'm gonna cut a lot of it though. Um, I can just tell because there's a lot of overlap in the two conversations, but it's just gonna be a menace to society and me. Um, don't like that. No, personally love short chapters. And when I'm reading on my Kindle, I see that I can finish the chapter in a short amount of time, so I'm more inclined to stay up and keep reading. I could see that for sure. I don't typically look at the chapter length. I guess I look at like what percentage I am through the book. I don't really read a lot on Kindle Unlimited though. I just kind of vibe, or I read books that like I wouldn't typically read and I just like wanna scour. Okay, Meredith, have fun at work today. I will watch the Transformers. It's annoying because I can't actually work from home. I mean, I can and I do, but the construction makes it like not a peaceful time. But anyway, thanks for joining us, Meredith. Will we see a video from you today? I don't know. If not, totally fine. I'm just curious and nosy. Sherry says shorter chapters are definitely easier to read. I have seen breaks, so within a longer chapter, yeah, yeah. If I have a longer chapter, there's for sure like 2 to 3 scenes in it. Or it's like a bougie montage act 2 part 2 scene, which is what I'm at right now, which is horrible. Meredith. Okay, everyone, check out Meredith's channel for a video coming out today. Okay, bye. Okay, let's get going with one more sprint. So I know I have to get to work, so can't chat too much, everyone. But we can always. Okay, let's get it cooking. Oh, all right. One more 25-minute. You can do it. That was me talking to myself, if you were wondering. Okay. Roll your neck. Stretch out your wrists. Oh, ow. Should I just break my neck? Okay, bye. All right, that brings us to the end of that sprint as well. I ended up doing some queries. Sorry. So, no writing for me, but I did send 2 queries and researched like 10, which is pretty successful. I realized I was running low on my list of people to query. Like, I just keep a running list. And so I decided to add some. So that's what I did. Um, Although I did do it while listening to some Hannah Montana, which is the only way that I recommend to query, is while listening to Hannah Montana, specifically The Climb. Thank you. Cranko finished notes mostly. That's awesome. Let me know how you did that sprint. Um, I realized I have not sent any queries in a while, so just gotta keep the train moving. All of this query talk has me inspired. Also, I am afraid of this chapter. That is what's really happening. So, Zaina finished studying. I hope the algebra was wonderful and mathematical, and I hope it all made sense. Although I doubt it did, but maybe. Maybe algebra makes sense in your brain, and I hope that it does. Sherry got distracted by marauding bunnies on my garden porch. I think that's a great distraction. I also had a couple of those. The rabbits, I don't understand. The rabbits, are there more rabbits or are there more construction men? The world will never know. The world will never know. I should start a count. I think that is going to bring us to the end of this sprint. Um, Thank you guys for joining me today, but also this week. It was so fun to spend most of my mornings with you. We got a couple more people. Dance Storm, got some ideas brewing. Nothing solid yet, but one character triggered a memory of a previous idea. So, well, that's exciting. I'm glad you got a little bit of that spark back. So, that's always good. Casey's still working on outlining the story on note cards, but I did one sentence and got 409 words. That's awesome, Casey. Great job. The algebra, I wish it made sense. I'm pretty sure I failed it last semester, but the results are coming. I believe. I believe. Um, but yeah, so there should be a video on Sunday. And yeah. And I'll probably be live a similar amount next week. So keep an eye out for the sprints next week. And yeah, have a great weekend, guys. If you want to write, write, but if you don't, don't. But do. Hear me in your ear. Write your book. Thank you. Okay. Have a good Friday. I'll see you next week, guys. Bye.